On today's episode of Identity, occupational therapist Lesego Mashishi hangs out in the Identity coffee shop. We meet a dynamic martial arts father and daughter duo. What's Appening features the review of a cooking app and the local movie Tell Me Sweet Something. And we play out with Love Color Spin by Moby Dixon.
I am an individual with an imagination. My inner faith illuminates innovations. In a space with infinite inspiration, I was born free from all incarceration. Incredible, living infallibly, intelligent, outshine with my inner being. This is me, impeccable as ever been. I am you, you are me. This is my identity.
Hello and welcome to Identity, the multi-faith youth show that shines the spotlight on different faiths, religions, and spiritual lifestyles of Mzansians youth. I'm your host, Kwala. It's the last Sunday of October, and that means we are that much closer to the end of the year. Remember those New Year resolutions you made at the start of 2015? If you have abandoned them, then it's time to consider revisiting them in 2 months' time. We're here to add some motivation and inspiration as you journey towards your goals. Umuntu owazi kakhulu ngokujongana namaphupha akhe lingenekazi elindwendwele ivenkile yethu yekofi khonapha ku-Identity namhlanje. Masidibane naye. Lesego Mashishi has always been an achiever. In primary school, she became the first African head girl of the school. In high school, she was a member of the SRC and the prefect body. During her high school career, she was dealt a heavy blow, losing both her parents in the space of a few years. This, coupled with a lack of funds to further her studies, could have been the end of the road for Lesego, but a studying opportunity with the South African National Defence Force gave her an opportunity to soar. Today, she's a qualified and successful occupational therapist. She's also the founder of Limitless Occupational Therapy Services. I want to find out more about her interesting career choice, as well as how she juggles her personal and business lives. Lesego, welcome to Identity.
Thank you.
Before we get into your story, I want to find out about your childhood.
Sure, my childhood was, it was a bit of both. It was great on the aspect that I grew up with my parents in the Free State, with my grandparents. But when I moved to Pretoria to live with my parents, they had an abusive relationship, so individually, my mother was a wonderful mother and my father was a fantastic father, but them together, the way they used to relate with each other and the constant fights and the atmosphere of abuse in the house, it was, when I think of those times, I really can't imagine how we actually got through that with my siblings. When my father first passed away, he committed suicide. And we were, at that time, they were going through their last separation, going to divorce. So that was a difficult time because I was daddy's little girl,
Yes.
And
And subsequently, you also lost your mother.
Yes.
So how do you deal with all of that?
I always feel spiritually connected with my mother because I can't let go. And how do you deal with losing your mother, you know? And at a critical age, when I was 17, I think, starting to date, and we were so used to having a comfortable life. Now there was nothing, there was no food. But when you go through it, it's like something else takes over. Then I didn't feel like I'm lacking food or lacking clothes or this. But now when I look back, it's shocking that we actually had nothing.
Yeah, and you went through it. And you touched up on spirituality. What role has it had in your life then, and what role has it had in your life now?
We were in a Christian home where my mother was very active at church, and I had a grandmother that introduced us to, church and all of that. So growing up, you lose that along the way. But when I was in the military, then I found a great house, with a pastor. It's Bethesda.
Sure.
So the pastor there, I always say to people that I feel like I found a spiritual father that could, that I could relate to, and that my spirit could identify with. You know, for me, I know the power of having being totally reliant on your God source, because that has been my life. I could never explain where my food came from or where the opportunities came from, but I understand it's because I have a higher being that is watching over me all the time. You know, I don't know another life apart from being very spiritually rooted, because that has never failed me.
You spoke about the military. How do you get to secure your bursary from them?
It was actually quite a funny story. I didn't even know what occupational therapy was about. Like, you know, I was just, I'm going to make sure I get good grades. You know, my matric results must be sky high because I need a bursary. You know, we wouldn't even be able to get loans and things like that because who was going to sign for those things? So I just ensured that I get good matric results, and there were also a lot of programs at that time to empower the youth. So we also, through the military, we got a chance to upgrade our maths and science, and that's what really unlocked the possibilities, because I could have studied medicine, occupational therapy, or physiotherapy, or biokinetics. It's just I liked the sound of occupational therapy.
And I was about to ask you.
I didn't even know what it was.
I was about to ask you, now that you know what it is, what does it entail?
What occupational therapy is about is basically extracting people's skills, talents, and character traits, and then ensuring that they function well in all the areas of their lives. So that would be your activities of daily living, leisure, your work, socially. So that becomes imperative when people have gone through like a traumatic incident or an accident, or they lose a limb, or you know, anything that, or any chronic illness. You need to be rehabilitated to live either an alternative life to your full potential, or to regain function in, you know, the way you used to live before.
And thereafter you practiced as a therapist for a couple of years, then you decided, nah, I'm going to open up my own business. I mean, what inspired that?
There came a point where I had so many ideas and creative things that I wanted to explore within the profession. And when you're working in another person's business or system, they have their own way of, you know, because they have outcomes and vision and mission for the business. So there was a bit of a separation there of the things that I wanted to implement in the profession and my role, or as a worker where I was. So I had to jump. And the other thing was also I became more hungrier to create employment. I knew that now I have the power to, if I do well, I can employ other people, including my sister, you know. So that was my biggest motivation, I must say.
And speaking about, you know, being an occupational therapist, I imagine that there's a lot of exchange of energy, and you could feel drained by the end of the day. So how do you protect yourself from all that negativity?
That's where my level of spirituality, I cannot detach from that, because I understand that I have a purpose in this person's life. I understand, and I take the responsibility to do my part to ensure that, you know, they go through whatever it is that they're going through. So I become rejuvenated and re-energized from seeing them come out of their situation. You know, so I don't detach at all, I must say. I know it's important, but I get relief from talking to my friends, talking to you, talking to, you know. There's so many ways to release that energy, but I get joy in seeing the person come out of that particular situation.
We definitely need more therapists like you. Okay, so we're going to play a quick word game. And the game is called What Word Best Describes. Okay, so you're going to think of a word quickly that best describes the following. Okay, a bad weave.
Tangle.
Your sense of humor.
Crazy.
Red velvet cake.
Yummy.
Social media.
Crazy.
Children.
Love.
A much needed holiday?
Now.
A broken nail?
Aina.
God?
Awesome.
Your reaction to people who cut you off on the road?
I don't care.
So you have nothing to say?
No.
Lesego, thank you so much for joining us on Identity. What an inspiration.
Thank you.
Enkosi kuLesego Mashishi ngokuchitha ixesha nathi ukuba azokwabelana nathi ngebali lakhe. Ndithemba ukuba uninike intshiseko yokuba ninyamezele nileqa amaphupha enu noba kunzima kangakanani na. After the break, we take a short lift to Fordsburg in Johannesburg to meet a father and daughter team who are passionate about practicing and teaching martial arts. We'll be back in a moment.
This is my identity. This is my identity.
Welcome back to Identity, the show that lets you in on what's trending on the spiritual front. I'm Viwekwala. Developing the mind, body, and spirit is at the core of what the Identity team aims to help our viewers achieve. Today, our regional story takes us on an excursion to discover the physical and spiritual benefits of practicing martial arts. We recently spent time with Zara Said and her father, Hanshi Soli Said, who between them hold 12 black belts in karate. As they celebrate 50 years of Hanshi Said's martial arts career, they continue to pass on the skills and discipline to the community that they teach. Let's meet them now and get physical.
This is my identity.
Martial arts is regarded as the best form of self-defense, a tool for physical fitness and spiritual well-being. For over 50 years, Hanshi Soli Said, an accomplished 9th Dan black belt martial arts expert, has been sharing the ancient virtues and benefits of karate with one of his daughters, Zara, who is a 4th Dan black belt. And now she's taking the discipline further with her holistic approach to physical and spiritual well-being.
I'd say my story is a little bit different to everyone else that walks through the doors coming to find martial arts or whatever their reasons are or intentions. I was born into the dojo, so I am a child, the real karate kid. Having said that, I've always followed my dad's footsteps. I've always wanted to, walk in his shoes and experience life the way he has, because it's been such an elaborate story. It's been amazing. I've been fascinated by the story, the fairy tale of this whole experience. So for me, coming into the dojo, I was born here.
Zara just started blossoming in the dojo at a time when I was mellowing out as a person myself. With my other 2 daughters, I was strict. I was on the cases and whatever the case. With Zara, it was like I was mellowing, and I was given that wisdom that was coming with age. I think I started seeing things that I didn't see as a youngster, maybe. So here I could see this potential. I could see this love for movement and for the art of karate and so forth.
My relationship with my dad and I is wonderful. I mean, I see him every day. We've been together every day, and he's always been the one person during school when you have to write an essay about your hero. He's always been my hero, and he's always had a lot to teach and a lot for me to learn from. I've always said I've had to share my dad with the world, and perhaps before I resented it a little bit, but now it's a treasure, it's a gem. It's a gem to know that everyone around me has experienced parts of him that I know so well, and that those are the parts of him that we all love and care and cherish immensely. And we're also proud to be celebrating his 50 years of being in the martial arts in the next couple of weeks. It's a huge celebration, can't wait. International people coming over, gonna have a massive tournament, a massive banquet. It's just gonna be amazing.
While martial arts offers many benefits in terms of physical and mental fitness, Hanshi Soli Said and Zara also focus on the spiritual well-being that helps them and their students cope with everyday life experiences. They've found a unique way of balancing their Islamic way of life with martial arts.
As a Muslim woman, growing up in the dojo, being around women all the time, especially from our community. We are based within Mayfair, Crosby area, so our market is the Muslim women community, myself specifically. I've definitely brought in the wholeness that you learn from martial arts, the complete control, self-control, the mindfulness, the idea of appreciation, of love of oneself, love of everything around you, and learning how to observe and be grateful. And those are two things that I find really just they intertwine and they flow and they work and they balance one another out.
The whole martial arts, what do you call it? Gratitude, benevolence, respect, courtesy, honor, honesty, truthfulness is all part and parcel of your religion, of the religion of Islam too, in all religions, you know what I mean? So I thought, I could never, in my 50 years of doing karate, I haven't found a contradiction between my religious and spiritual beliefs through my religion and my karate and my spiritual beliefs to my karate.
Zara has introduced a new approach to help her students attain optimum health by combining her skills in martial arts with yoga and Pilates. She also does life coaching and aims to offer women a holistic solution to overall physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being.
I definitely went that route because this is my lifestyle, and I want to create a brand. I am creating a brand, and I want to be able to offer more, and I'm really here to serve the woman. And I've been working within the Muslim community specifically because I do have a lot of passion. I mean, I can relate. I'm part and parcel of the community, and I want to be able to stand forward with the ladies. And with regards to health and wellness, we don't always have a lot of people we can turn to in understanding our lifestyle and then being able to incorporate what health and wellness has to do and how we can, really feel vitality.
What she studied in yoga and Pilates, her religion, her background in Islamic religion, whatever I could have taught her and whatever she learned herself, to be this rounded person, this grounded person who, for being so young, has already the qualities of a mentor. Very, very interesting. People look up to her and give her a lot of respect because she's beyond her age with wisdom. You know what
I mean? This is my identity.
Wow, 50 years of a martial arts career and steadily moving on to a 10th black belt soon. I didn't know that so much could be achieved by practicing martial arts. Passion and dedication are certainly the key drivers in that story. I'm inspired by the work that both Hanshi Sali Said and his daughter Zara are doing in their community. I hope you've been inspired too. Emva kwentengiso sichona kwisiqendu sethu se-What's Appening. Namhlanje sijonga i-app yokupheka nomboniso bhanya-bhanya oshushu. Ningasuki kuloo ndawo.
This is my identity. This is my identity.
If you've just joined us, this is Identity right here on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. I'm Viwe Kwala. We kicked off the show with the occupational therapist and entrepreneur Lesego Mashishi. We then learned about the physical and spiritual benefits of practicing martial arts with Hanshi Sadi Said and his daughter Zara. Now it's time to find out what's trending in cyberspace and on the big screen. It's time for What's Appening. Na umcimbi ozakuya kuwo apho khona ufuna ukukhupha unyango ukupheka ukutya okumnandi okanye ufuna ukwazi ukupheka kangcono ngoku uyakhona ukuba nokutya okuhlukahlukaneyo ongakupheka nge-app ebizwa Tasty Recipes app.
Improving your culinary skills just got easier. On its homepage, the Tasty Recipes app gives you a list of featured recipes as well as a list of popular recipes in that week. For a categorical listing of recipes, select the categories option. Choose a category, pick a recipe, and get started. Here you'll find the yield quantity, preparation time, required ingredients, as well as the cooking instructions. Want to know what other people think of the recipe? Scroll to the bottom of the page for the comments section. You can save a recipe for future reference by simply favoriting it. Perhaps you have your own winning recipe that you'd like to share. Select the Compose Recipe app, input the ingredients and cooking instructions, add a photo and submit. The app contains recipes for all types of food, for all sorts of palates. Whether you're diabetic, vegetarian, or looking for something suitable for children, the Tastely Recipes app has it all.
Once you're confident enough to show off your cooking skills, why not end your evening with a romantic comedy like the one we're reviewing today? It's the locally produced Tell Me Sweet Something.
Umbonile umngane wethu omusha. Muhle shem.
Not really my type. I was writing the
Starring a star-studded cast, Tell Me Sweet Something is a movie about an aspiring author with every writer's worst nightmare, writer's block. Muratiwa, the main character, has not had much luck in love since her ex-boyfriend went out to run an errand and never came back. While on a night out with her best friend, she meets Nat Masilo, South Africa's #1 model, and a romance begins to bloom. Will this be the end of her writer's block and the beginning of a lifelong love story?
Did you pull us over because of the gun in the cubby hole and the drugs under the seat here? You'll never catch me alive!
Directed by Akino Motoso and starring the likes of Mpumi Mbethe, Maps Maponyane and Tishiwe Zikubu, this is a film that celebrates love and the complexities thereof. If you're looking for a sweet, funny rom-com, then Tell Me Sweet Something is a definite must-see.
I'm actually writing now. I think it's a love story.
Do they end up together?
You believe that all these years I've been waiting for you.
This Wednesday marks the start of Stroke Week. This week is dedicated to raising awareness about the symptoms and effects of stroke. Statistics show that approximately 270 people in South Africa suffer a stroke each day, and about 60 of those people die as a result. These horrifying statistics can be reduced by increasing your knowledge of the signs and symptoms of a stroke and seeking medical help as soon as you witness or experience the telltale signs. For more information, visit the Heart and Stroke Foundation South Africa website on www.heartfoundation.co.za. We've come to the end of today's episode of Identity. Remember, you can hook up with us by liking our Facebook page, following us on Twitter, or by searching for our Instagram profile. Identity TV Show is the name to look for on all 3 platforms. If social media is too limiting for you, you can always send an email to identitytvshow@gmail.com. Today we're playing out on a house tip. Here is Moby Dixon and his track called Love Color Spin. From me, Viwekwala, and the Identity team, goodbye and have a blessed week.